Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let me show you what we've been working on. So as you guys can see, we are going to be putting wall control on the metal working area. So I could put some metal working tools up there, like grinders and sawzalls. And on camera before I spoke, I wanted to mount this piece just to show you where my head is. So because I am not going to be able to fully fill this out, I found the center of the space. And since we only have 3 pieces, which adds up to 48 inches, and we have 54 inches, I have to have 2 inches on this side and 2 inches on this side. So it's not gonna cover the wall completely. I probably have that math messed up. I'll correct everything on the bottom left corner. So since we're not gonna be able to fill it, we're gonna have 2 inches on each side. I don't really like that, but it is what it is. We are gonna be having to do some modification to this wall control piece because I have to cut it because it's not gonna fit in this area, obviously. So we're gonna be cutting it into an L shape here. And I already have made all the marks, as you can see here. So we're just gonna be cutting along that line with this wonderful tool here. And we will be doing the same thing we did on this wall, where we cut the top piece to make that fit. But this time we will not be screwing into a pipe because there's no pipes in this wall, and I'm not gonna be that stupid again. So yeah, we're gonna be cutting this piece. We have that piece to cut, and we're gonna be mounting everything on the wall. Now, for those that have not seen the video when I mounted this wall control on, when you cut this piece, you're not gonna have anywhere to screw on. So I am gonna be making the holes, and I'm gonna be using a piece of rod to give it some support on the back. And I'll show you exactly what I mean once I make all the pieces. If you want more details on this, you should probably watch the video on this wall control because I go into a lot more detail on it, and it's just redundant for me to go over it again. So let's cut this piece and cut these pieces too. All right, guys, so just so you know, I put this piece so we can see that everything is in line. This is a little crooked though. It's all good though. But make sure that these lines are in line, so if I have to put anything in the middle, I can, like you see there. And I just set up the camera and just let it roll to show you guys that putting this screw, and that screw on top was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. At first, I tried to use this screw, these screws right here, regular wood screws, because if you guys remember when I mounted this on that wall, I put plywood inside the wall, but the 2-inch screws weren't long enough. I needed to get like 3-inch, and I didn't want to go into that box there. I have a mess here. It's a nightmare. I don't like working like this, but I have 3-inch in there, and I didn't want to stop what I was doing to use it, so I just used the plastic anchors and got them in place, and I had to redo it. These pieces from the back kept on folding on the floor, so I'm going to leave that whole event in the video just so you guys know how difficult and frustrating it is. I also left this tape here to show you guys that I almost cut this wrong. I almost cut the 32 inches from the top down when I had to do it from the bottom up. So if I would have cut this, I would have cut way too much, as you guys see. So make sure if you're ever going to cut these wall control pieces, they aren't cheap. Make sure you cut them the right way. So let's mount this piece that goes here. No modifications have to be done with this one. You could just mount it, and then I'm just going to cut that one. I'll cut that off camera, but I'll mount it on camera to show you guys how frustrating it really is, because it's extremely frustrating, and you just have to get some patience and, you know, relax and take a breather and just do the work. So let's mount this last piece and let's get this done. So we got this piece in, and we officially put the table in its place. I had to move everything from up there and lay it out down here, and also look at this mess of tools. So yeah, when I finish doing the work down here, I'll move this over and shove all that stuff back up there. But this area is looking good. And I know that I said I was going to cut that piece off camera, which I am going to do, but I wanted to speak about this before I do the work and install it. So this piece here, when you are installing this and measuring and cutting, you want to make sure that this end, which is the end that has the screws, lines up with the end that has the screws. What I'm trying to say is, if you don't understand, is if you put it this way and you make this end line up with this end, the lines here and the holes will not line up how they should. So just keep in mind that when you're gonna measure and cut the pieces, you make sure that you cut the piece to the side as far as the width, and when you're gonna install it, make sure these holes right here line up with this edge right there, because it will not line up. So let me cut this off camera and then install it. And remember, I'm going to be struggling with these pieces right here. So let's do that now. Well, the wall control is 100% in and the welding area is done. Let me show you this over here. I have this below the table just a little bit, just so we could push this table back to make some space for this vise. The vise is not exactly where I want it. I would like it a little more this way, to be honest. But what bothers me more is that it's not past, the jaws are not past this part right here. So if I want to put something long, it's going to be crashing. So I said, just to gain about 3/4, I decided to leave that right below where it is there. And yeah, that's why I did that, so we could push this forward. And this area is looking good. Like I said earlier in the video, I do not like that there's about 2 inches on this side and 2 inches on this side, but it is what it is. We work with what we have, and I think it came out good. It's a little bit darker in this corner now that I have this up. Before it was all white and now it's dark. So I'm thinking about maybe putting a LED light down here that wall control cells. It's just an on and off switch. I don't want to do it how I did in that cabinet where is an M12 powered under cabinet light, just because I don't have, you know, the setup to do that. I don't have anywhere to put the switch. And anyway, let's see. Maybe I'll do something like that. We'll see. If you guys want to see that, leave it in the comments down below and maybe I'll do that. But yeah, this area is 100% done. And the point of putting this wall control on this wall is because I want all the metalworking tools up and hanging in this area, just because I truly hate having to go into this cabinet and look for tools. If I could just have everything displayed out here that's for metalworking, and here I could use like common tools that I usually use that is not necessarily metalworking tools, it'll be great. Keep everything in its section, you know, keep everything nice and organized. Hopefully sooner or later I could get a better welder and I could start using this welding area. I'm gonna have a sawzall, a grinder, and everything else mounted on this wall. And speaking about that, on the next video we are going to be working on mounting things on the wall. I'm gonna show you my process on what I do and what hooks I use to hang things on the wall. I like to keep everything, you know, as you can see here, nice and organized and in its place. Everything has a place and everything is in its place. I don't like to have things out of its place. I don't like to have things just floating around or on top of the tabletop. I usually have this place more organized. Unfortunately, I had to get everything out from up there and use a whole bunch of tools. That's the reason why everything's out. But on the next video, I'm gonna show you my thought process on how I hang these things. I'm also gonna show you how I use the magnets on custom made things from Etsy. So if you're interested in seeing how I use items from Etsy to make it work on this wall, stay tuned for the next video. So this is where I'm gonna have to end this video. If you learned something new, you can show me by giving me a like. Any comments or questions, leave it in the comments down below. And if you're interested in seeing more, consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks.